Mike Edwards then in pole position. Watch for him, he's going exceedingly well. Number 18 alongside him is Steve Ruth. And then we've got 48 up next in third place on the grid, John Crawford. And then Takeshi, he's the man to watch for. He's going very, very quick this morning. So 43, Takeshi Minoda. And he's a man to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
Skorpion, Harris, Yamaha. There's quite a lot of different motorbikes out there, all of different makes. But Mike Edwards really is much more on the pace, I think, at the moment. That was row 1, row 2.
Van Dijk, the Dutchman, Smart, yeah, that's Scott Smart, the British 250 racer.
One off ride for him, just got the bike this week, went out for a wobble round on the Yamaha and found himself reasonably competitive.
Meyer, the German on the BMW engine signal, and Ellie Bindrum, the lady racer, very quick on the MZ.
Lap record is held by Alan Carter on a Ducati in 1 minute 41.85, and Mike Edwards' pole time is 1 minute 43.92. So Edwards is nearly a second faster than anyone else. So expect Mike Edwards, if he makes the start, to effectively clear off. We shall see. This is the start of the race then. There is Mike Edwards on bike number 2. Will Edwards manage to make it? Behind him is 99 Alan Kaskar, the racing journalist, one of Julian's best friends, of course. So we shall get lots on Alan Kaskar.
Before he was a journalist.
And there goes Mike Edwards. Mike Edwards from pole. Did he get the start? Yes, I think he did, just about. But it's the man beside him, Steve Ruth, got a quickie too. But look at Mike Edwards, straight in the red gate, drops it in there in front of everyone. So Mike Edwards then on the MuZ Skorpion 680, the MuZ racing team. He's away, and really, they've got to go some to keep up with him.
Oh, he's the class of the field, the man who can ride absolutely anything. 500 endurance bikes, super sport, 600s, he does the lot. And it's Mike Edwards, or somebody cutting across the dust there, taking a chance in second. Number 2 is Edwards, first ride on the MZ.
And the sun comes out, and that looks to me like Scott Smart in second place. Scott Smart on 88.
It looked like number 88, and it is number 88 in second, and it is Scott Smart.
Well, I can see his sister down on pit lane here, keeping an eye on what's going on. His mum here, of course, is Barry Sheen's sister, just for those of you that's not been with us before in commentary. And Scott Smart, nephew of Mr. Sheen, is in second place at the moment, behind the class act of the field, Mike Edwards. We'll see what Scotty's capable of doing. We know he's quite quick.
48 in third, John Crawford, third qualifier, multiple TT winner, regular 600 Supersport man. Here he comes.
And yeah, through though goes number 48. That was John Crawford, the man that was third on the grid. So Crawford slides through in the second place. I should have said, of course, while we were going on about the Sheen family, we've also got Grandad in here as well. Franco is in the commentary booth with us. Maybe we'll get a word from him later.
And I saw Scott's dad, Paul Smart, talking to X-Racer. Hello, Scott.
Oh, there's a lot of smoke coming from Scotty's bike, no doubt about that. There was a lot of brake judder coming in there from Crawford, so all sorts of trouble there from 48 Crawford. But all the time, Mike Edwards, no problems from him, easing away now at the front. At the end of the lap then, it is Mike Edwards on bike number 2, the Skorpion of... Mike Edwards goes over the line, little bit of a lead. Then next up is Crawford, and then Scott Smart is still there. As they cross past us, you see the lap board's being held out down pit lane. But 48 Crawford's going extremely well. He's hanging on there with Mike Edwards at the moment. I would have said Crawford was the quickest man out of the two of them.
Looks like it's Steve Day comes up next. He was a 5th row qualifier, number 3, so he's come hammering through. Looking down the Japanese Takeshi, he is in 7th place. Alan Cathcart's 8th.
Oh, no, the curb. Wow, that's a hell of a place to be taken to the curb just there. Third place man Scott Smart, though, has got a smoky motorbike. Scott Smart's bike is going off. So Scotty has a major problem. Well, that's a bit of a disaster for him. He gets a one-off ride. He's going this good. He qualifies on the second row of the grid. He's right up there at the start, and there his poor old bike's going off. So Scott Smart then, after a great start to this Supermono race, finds himself looking behind. Not much cop for that. 36 behind him, Hans-Peter Mayer, the German, on the BMR Suzuki 741. But Scott Smart's bike, surely that must be terminal.
Keith,
smoking this much in a 25 minutes plus 2-lap race. And we're only on the second lap.
What happened yesterday? Scott Smart's bike, here he comes again. He did a valve guide oil seal, so lots of smoke, but no oil on the outside of the bike. Maybe it's done the same thing again.
Yeah,
it's coming out the pipes, not out the engines. Spike looks back, and he's doing them already.
Going to knock the power off, though, for sure. Scott's bike surely can't be that quick when it's got a load of oil going through there. Edwards leads then on bike 2. Second place is 48 John Crawford. 88 in third is Scott Smart. And then I think behind him is 36. That's Hans-Peter Mayer, the German. But we're looking at Scott Smart in third place. This is your race leader, number 2. That is Mike Edwards on the MuZ Skorpion. A lot of people, the older fraternity, won't remember MZ being quite this quick.
Well, they were, Keith, of course. They invented the modern two-stroke. Walter Carden. In
fact, young people like me won't remember MZ being that quick. I remember them smoking away down the high street with some doddery old person on.
We'll get to that later, because Edwards, Crawford, Smart in the top three. Meyer, Ruth, Cathcart, Takeshi and Slutya. And I can tell you the lady, Ellie Bintram, is up from 11th now. She's up to 10th place last time round. So Ellie Bintram, 7th at Misano. In the first round, she's making progress. Her teammate here, Spike Edwards, ignore the Honda on the leathers. It's an MZ he's on. It is a Yamaha engine, we should point out.
I was going to say, V&M, of course, they sponsor Edwards in the 600 class series, and having a couple of rides out today. Mike Edwards, this one will be the easier, I think, of the two races that he's competing in.
It's the fully developed MZ. He did some prototype work for them a couple of years ago when the Skorpion was first made. The chassis made by the British design consultancy Seymour Powell out of Fulham. The engine a modified Yamaha.
He's on a cruise, though, isn't he? He keeps looking over his shoulder, but you can't really take him serious, can you? It's as if he knows he's got to make some race of this. And Scott Smart there on the outside. Now Smarty under a lot of pressure. 36 has gone through, yeah. Hans-Peter Meyer has gone through on Scott Smart at the end of the straight. So Smarty on the smoking bike. 88 Scott Smart on the Yamaha 690. So it looked like Smarty was going up the inside again then. So Scott having another go back. Well, he's pretty determined, isn't he? Well, he's very young. Yeah, we said young and silly.
Yeah. As we look at Spike, he said he only got on the bike on Friday. It suits him. There's Scott Smart on 88. Oh, wide Scott.
A little outbraking manoeuvre, and he outbraked himself. But look at this. Doesn't give up. Well, great race. Good stuff, Scott. So Scott Smart right in the thick of the action. Hans-Peter Meyer is the man on bike 36. 18 flying in there is Steve Ruth. He was the second place man on the grid.
Scott.
And Ruth goes through.
Oh, goes to second.
Ruth goes straight through. Brilliant ride from him. He was second place man in qualifying, so that is a justified move and one he'll probably hang on to.
And he's the man, Keith. He is a multiple British single-cylinder champion, so he's, if you like, the specialist in this class. Scott Smart back to third.
Again. But fighting, we've got to say. Filling him in with smoke. He's laying his own smoke screen just to make sure. Yeah, look at that thing puffing and chugging away.
Yep. That's Meyer, the German behind him, getting the full benefit of the oil. Look at him.
I keep saying that it's puffing away and it must be knocking the edge off the speed, but either Scott's getting some drive from somewhere or whatever, or the extra bit of oil in the engine is assisting it, because it doesn't look slow everywhere you go. Now, on the back is Alan Cathcart. Well, is he the oldest man in the race? Answers on the postcard, please. Alan Cathcart, the racing journalist, on bike 99. I always have this problem with racing journalists.
Well, I can set your mind at ease, He was a racer before he was a journalist.
I see.
So, you know, that's just to keep your paranoia in check. He's on the...
Oh, the inside goes Meyer. Meyer then gets... Oh, great manoeuvre. Well, that's good stuff, isn't it? Hans-Peter Meyer, then the German shoves it up the inside at the S's, and back goes Ruth on bike 18, and then Smart is falling back into the jaws of the elder statesman Alan Cathcart. Let's take another look at this, because it was a good manoeuvre and it was very, very tight indeed. Cathcart, you can see just in the background, but on the outside is Ruth grabbing great handfuls of throttle, but up the inside comes Hans-Peter Meyer. Then it's the oily Scott Smart in fourth place, third in your picture. And through the S's they go. Oh, look at this. Mike Edwards. Well, I was saying that maybe he was making a race of it.
Here comes Crawford.
Well, yet to find out. Not yet.
Not on the brakes, he doesn't.
Well, I would hazard a guess, and my opinion is that Mike Edwards is he's not going as quick as his qualifying time just yet. Well, it's not nowhere near it. He's done a 44.14 and he qualified in 43.92, so he's not that far from it. But the lap record here, remember, is Alan Carter on a Ducati at 1 minute 41.85. So and that was done back in 94. So we'll wait and see. Edwards, Crawford, Meyer, Ruth, Cathcart on 99. Smart dropped behind Cathcart now. Takeshi 43 and Van Dijk in 8th place.
I can tell you that Ruth, number 18, he finished third first time out at Misano. John Crawford, though, number 48. I'm looking down my Misano results. Don't see him there, so it's the first real time we've seen him. The multiple British single-cylinder champion, a real specialist on this sort of thing, on classic bikes, Isle of Man and road circuits rather than the short circuits. But he's going to give Spike a run for his money, but Spike knows he's there.
He's woken him up anyway. Yeah. So John Crawford then on bike 48 in second place at the moment. The Bird Yamaha 684 in second place. We'll wait to see how it compares with the old Skorpion. They sound quite good. There's a passing up 43.52. Right, we're getting down to it now. That's lower than the pole time. Crawford has gone faster than Edwards' pole time. So Mike Edwards just when we say that he is likely to dominate this race, he's not likely to dominate this race, but it's going to be a great race because Edwards is a real fighter. He's not going to let Crawford win. There's no doubt in my mind about that. You've only got to look at the man to realise that.
Spike, he rides anything and everything. He went to the Macau Grand Prix on a Rock 500 2 years ago, set the lap record, went back last year, won the race. He in his first 24-hour race 3 years ago. The Ball d'Or, finished second. He's a British Super Sport 600 champion. He's good on a superbike. He's one of those blokes who rides anything.
Oh, Smarty's out. Scott Smart then ends up parting, and I can tell you that Grandad Franco is behind me, and I heard a big R.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Scott was walking back to the pits. Well, a disaster for Scott, but I think he had a good showing there. He was right up with him. I mean, on a bike that he's never ridden before he came here this week. So, good showing for Scott Smart, but out of the race then.
Hello, Spike's put the hammer down. He knows Crawford's there. He's had the wake-up call.
Wait for the fastest lap. 43.44, I can tell you, 43.44. Mike Edwards has gone quicker. There it is, confirmation. 140.02 kilometres an hour for the lap. 1 minute 43.44. Still, well, a second and a half off the lap record for this class, so Edwards probably something in hand. We wait to find out whether he's going to have to use it.
And Steve Ruth's back up to third now. He's got Meyer and Cathcart on his case. Meyer is 36, Cathcart 99. Number 18 is Ruth.
Well, Cathcart's probably still taking notes at the moment, so he's the third of this bunch. And this is your second, third and fourth place people. In fact, it's your third, fourth and fifth place person. Oh, look at Cathcart. Great big handfuls there. And he's obviously got notch quick action throttles on these things, because
yes.
that was an armful that Cathcart took then.
Yeah, for a bloke who's a lawyer educated at Cambridge, he shouldn't be doing this sort of thing, really, should he?
Jeff Sawyer there, 19 going through. He's a back marker. This is number 2, Mike Edwards, your race leader. Still behind him is the man challenging John Crawford then, number 48, John Crawford. Edwards has put up the fastest lap. We wait to see what goes through.
Oh, he's signalling down to the left-hand side at the rear of the bike. Is he saying the tyre's gone or the motor's gone, I wonder?
Well, I think we've not got long to find out, because when these things go bang, that's the end of it, really, isn't it? They don't sort of hover. They either go or they don't. And a problem there.
It's a back marker in the making, just cruising.
Well, it's still a problem at Craner's.
Very much so. But Edwards, he didn't think twice. He went straight through. I think maybe Crawford in second place now. What's happening here? Down at the left-hand side?
Well, that could be two things. Don't know what it actually signifies. If anything, it gives the man behind him a bit more hope, perhaps.
Yes.
It could be oil on my boot. It didn't look like a tyre going off to me. Maybe...
well, not at 43.67 last time
maybe
round.
He's got problems with his shifter or something like that.
The gear shifter?
Yeah.
Which is down, of course, by the left foot.
Absolutely.
For those of you who don't ride motorcycles regularly.
I had to think about that with Supermono, because I couldn't remember what side it was on, because they're quite...
Either one, there's
6 laps gone then. Edwards still leading, Crawford second, Meyer is in third place, Ruth, Cathcart and Takeshi all battling away for the lower leaderboard position. Bindram coming third here, 29, Ellie Bindram then, the lady of the riders. And a man out of this race, 36. Oh, that's a disaster. That is Hans-Peter Meyer. And Meyer was riding real well, so that's Scott Smart gone out on 88. And now Meyer is out as well.
He has a reputation for this, for building very fast engines that are unfortunately rather fragile as well.
So, coming up to complete another lap is Mike Edwards on bike 2, your race leader. Into Goddard's, right behind him is Crawford. So Crawford's still in second place, but it's Mike Edwards that leads.
And it was...
Mike Edwards into Redgate. Still on the case though is number 48 John Crawford, but Crawford on the Bird Yamaha pointing at the rear of his machine as well, so maybe there is a tyre problem here. 43.30, Edwards has gone through at 43.30, Crawford in 43.34. I can tell you this is getting faster and faster, so whatever the reason for pointing at the rear end, I can't quite imagine what the reason is for that, because they're all going faster. And another back marker in the way there, but Edwards round the outside. Takes the plate, but look, Crawford's still there, Julian. Crawford right with him. Yeah,
and for those the techno heads amongst us, that is the factory MZ that Spike's on. The bike in second place, Crawford's bike, was the one that was used to win the 1994 singles TT. Bird is the Yamaha. It's in place we have a crasher or a stopper.
I think that's a stopper. We haven't seen any crashes yet, that's for sure. So another man bites the dust, so to speak.
Metaphorically. Yeah, we've got the two class bikes at the front, Keith. The bike in second came out of the Yamaha Italy workshop they used to do Fabrizio Pirovano's Superbikes. Spikes up the pace again, 1:43.30. That's the one you reported last time round.
Mike Edwards then rising to the challenge of the man behind him, John Crawford. This could be quite a battle towards the end of this race. I remind you, 25 minutes and 2 laps is how long Supermono's race for.
And John Crawford, like Mike Edwards, is a regular Supersport 600 rider, so neither of these two will be scared of going elbow to elbow.
I think it shows, doesn't it, the fact that these guys are current crop quick guys on other classes. In the Supermono class, they are just a bit above the rest of the field as far as performance is concerned.
It's good to see a good race happening at what is otherwise thought of as an enthusiast class. Long gap back to Cathcart in third place, dicing with Ruth, that looks like.
It is indeed, but up the inside comes Ruth. Steve Ruth then at Redgate. Classic Redgate manoeuvre there. Steve Ruth gets in front of Alan Cathcart. Well, I remember a couple of years ago seeing Alan Cathcart crash at the Ulster Grand Prix in the biggest start possible, and well, I wouldn't have fancied it, that's for sure, let alone being his age.
Oh, he'll be...
Excuse me, Alan, for that.
That'll get a writ. The Dennis Trollope racing rider, Steve Ruth, I beg his pardon.
Nothing like hands-on journalism, though, is there? Alan Cathcart. I mean, he can... I'm slightly, I've got to say, tongue-in-cheek regarding Alan, but seriously, he is still a very, very good rider. No doubt about that. Ruth is not a man that's a bit of a slug, is he? Cathcart's all over him.
Look at Cathcart.
He said, yes, I'm going for you in a moment. Then I'm going to write about it.
Yes, that's Ducati Supermono Alan Cathcart's on. The only bike you can actually buy for this class. Interestingly, it's by the V2 company out of Australia. The people who make real weird, fast Ducatis down in Oz for Bears Racing and other enthusiasts. Number 19 parked it.
He was Jeff Sawyer, the back marker that we saw a little bit earlier on. Look at the size of the screen on that. That's
a comfortable ride, that must be.
It's a tourer. Back with a man touring in front. Mike Edwards now with a bit of a lead, and we can only guess that there must have been a problem there with Crawford at some stage. Perhaps he overshot very slightly, because now Mike Edwards has quite a lead. Looking back down the field, 29, that is Ellie Bindrum. Now, she is now in 6th place. Bindrum is the lady. And Bindrum riding very good.
She is, first year in singles.
And she's done a 1:45.28, comparing with a 1:43.30 of Edwards, so Bindrum not a mile off the pace.
Yeah, she finished 7th in Misano, first time out, with a rear tyre down to the canvas, having been up around, I think, 4th and 5th for much of the race.
And that's Takeshi Minoda behind her.
The winner.
Yeah, Takeshi Minoda then on bike 43 is behind in more ways than one.
Yeah. That bike behind Ellie Bindrum, the Over Yamaha, is in all but name a factory bike out of Yamaha's back door. Beautiful thing. I saw Yoshikawa, the superbike rider, having a look at it yesterday. He used to ride for Over in things like the 8-hour race.
Back with Mike Edwards then, and Edwards now has a clear lead. Edwards has put that hammer down, and I can tell you from the last lap, 43.30 was the time Edwards covered the ground in. 1:44.84 was Crawford's time, so Crawford 1.5 seconds slower on the last lap. Bit of a disaster for him. Here we go then, 18 up there is Steve Ruth. Steve Ruth battling with Cathcart.
This is the 3rd and 4th place dice. Steve Ruth, number 18, riding the Titcraft Suzuki, chassis made in Britain, overboard Suzuki DR engine. Cathcart on the purpose-built Ducati Supermono, 9:16.
Cathcart looks very, very smooth, and to me looks like the man with the most in hand between these two. Ruth's bike sitting down on the power out of the Essex, and Alan Cathcart, well, he won't want to expend too much energy, really, will he? He knows there's no one behind him for a long way, because he's been taking a good long look behind him, but he'll just take his time, I think, with Steve Ruth, and if Ruth is using a much more up on the curbs, wider line everywhere, which would indicate to me that perhaps he's right on the edge of it, and we'll see if Cathcart has the energy, the enthusiasm, and the wherewithal to want to pass Ruth later on for 3rd.
Indeed, the two guys at the front are regular Supersport 600 men. These two guys here for 3rd and 4th. Ruth pulling away from Cathcart now. They're regular, like, enthusiast class and classic bike riders, aren't they? They're the regular men in this class.
Ruth pulling away from Cathcart because I was talking and saying nice things about Cathcart. He's now puffed out, but still leading Mike Edwards. He did.
I'll tell you what, if Cathcart does have a problem, is going slower, Ellie Bindrum and Takeshi are coming along very quick. Bindrum was just in front of Takeshi. The Japanese has re-overtaken her as Crawford puts the hammer down.
Yeah, Crawford does, but 43.14. Now, I don't have that as far as my time's concerned. I've still got Edwards going the quickest at 43.42 on that last lap, but We're looking for it now. Lap 8, I'm told, was the quickest lap for Crawford.
Well, he's maybe thinking it's time to do something about Spike. Got a nice style, hasn't he, this boy? Regular 600 man, as we said, so he's used to the clashing and banging. But Spike, as well, fastest lap it might be, Keith. I think your analysis is correct. Spike is in control. The Bird Yamaha wiggles a bit through the S's, heading down towards the slowest point on the corner, of the course.
Can Crawford then reel in Edwards? He seems to have taken a couple of laps breather, and Edwards has gone a long way away from him, and I'm surprised. I have to say I'm very surprised that Crawford has nipped in there with a 43.14. That's a great time, but not indicative of what he's been doing in the last few laps. He seems to have suddenly opened up a second or a second and a half quicker on the lap than he has done in previous laps, which I find extremely strange.
Yeah, and by the timing monitor, I can now tell you that time round, Edwards extended his lead from 4.3 to 4.6. There's the 4.3 last time, and Edwards, Crawford, Ruth and Cathcart we know about. Then it is Minoda Takeshi on the over Yamaha and Ellie Bindram on the second of the MuZ Skorpions. So she's going to rack up a few more points for this European Cup race. But Takeshi, if he keeps his position, he will be the championship leader at the end of this race.
Still Mike Edwards then on the run into McLean's corner. Well, not a foot wrong anywhere. The bike looks brilliant. He's been so smooth throughout. He's just wound the wick up very slightly when he was challenged by Crawford closely, but as we said at the beginning of the race, we did expect Mike Edwards to be able to get away at the front here, and of course he has done now, but full marks to Crawford. Crawford really did make a big challenge. Edwards having a long look, and he must wonder what's happened to Crawford as well, because Crawford was with him for so long.
Very much so. I have to revise that last bit of mathematics. I think Steve Ruth, if he comes in with third here, going with his third in Santa Monica at Misano, it'll be tight with him and Takeshi for the championship lead. I'll have to actually get the old calculator out. Here we go, here's the pump.
Up the inside comes Cathcart at the S's. That was a lovely little manoeuvre. Well, at one time Ruth looked like he might just have a bit of a lead over Cathcart, but Cathcart, as I said before, not a man that wanted to really use too much energy in that pass, and found himself with a bit of room and slid up the inside, and Alan Cathcart, a classic manoeuvre there from him. And now, with a bit of fresh air in front of him, will he be able to pull away, concentrate on his lap times, keeping a nice tight line up into Goddard's? He wasn't going to have Ruth underneath him under there, was he?
Last thing you want, these two know each other of old, from all sorts of racing. Ruth tied the line onto the main straight, Cathcart on the Ducati leads, Ruth cuts it even tighter, that's number 18 we're talking about. Side by side to Redgate.
Yeah, certainly Ruth was very, very fast out of that turn, as opposed to, and runs a little wide at Redgate. And Alan Cathcart never needed an invitation post into him, did he? Leave me the gap, and I'll just slide on in now. I've got my corner speed nicely wound up. Straight under then. This is the battle for third place, I remind you. 99 is Alan Cathcart. 18 is Steve Ruth on the Harris Yamaha.
Yeah, I misidentified him earlier.
I was going to say, it's the Harris Yamaha. Yeah. Steve Harris will be banging on our door in a minute.
I did hear a noise on the log door. It's another of the British chassis men. And Keith, have a look at this.
Well, this is when Ruth just gets it slightly wide going into Redgate, and of course has to sit up as the blue missile of Alan Cathcart slots underneath him. Thank you very much, sir. And still it's Cathcart and Coppice.
This is the third place, nice Alan Cathcart, number 99 in third. Steve Ruth on the Harris, number 18 in fourth. I'll remind you, I misidentified that motorcycle earlier on. Yes, it is the same Harris, the same people who are running the Works Suzuki Superbike squad. Their real core business has been for years, Keith, building racing chassis.
In the distance then, from first place back to Cathcart in third. We're looking at Cathcart at the moment. Interestingly, as ever, I love some of the names some of these teams come up with. The Future Perfect Racing Team is Alan Cathcart's team on the Ducati 582. Future Perfect. Well, it's not looking too bad at the moment for third place.
Yep. It's you'll see V2 written on the fairing just to confuse you.
There we go.
Whoa, Alan.
Yeah, he's got the back end sitting down. It's got that minor hinge in the middle.
Yes, for a small motorbike, that was quite a big hinge. Here's the leader, Spike Edwards. Now, what's he got? Over 5 seconds now. 1:43.93 last time round. He's got in a real good groove.
Well, look,
he's in the traffic.
That's Richard Cutts. Now, there's a man you wouldn't have thought of as traffic. I seem to remember Richard Cutts in this class of racing, or this type of racing, for years and years. Julie's got his hand in the air. It's like being in class.
Big crash for Cutsy. I think yesterday, Keith, on the bike he's dreamed of having for years, the Supermono, and he went and gave it a big trashing. So he's, I think, possibly walking wounded. He is a faster guy than that, as you say.
And we're missing also Mark Linscott. It's worth mentioning. Mark Linscott had a big problem yesterday with his Yamaha as well.
It's called Craner Curves.
Craner Curves, he joins the Craner Club. I think he's been there before, actually.
I think Mark Linscott has. It's another of the...
Look at this. Wow, this is going to make it rather interesting. Okay, let's try and identify some of these. 27, Gianluca Solazzo, then the Italian, is 27. And Mike Edwards, well, almost gentlemanly with that.
Yeah, that bike number 27 is a Kajiva Mito 125 street bike with a Husqvarna 610 motocross engine in it.
Where do you get it from, Julian? Under number 5, Mark Laws is the next man up. So, number 5, Mark Laws, has been dispatched. And I'm waiting for Julian to come down with a rundown of the nuts and bolts of that particular motorcycle, but no response from that one, so we can only guess. No. 58 straight under him. That is Dave Harnett on the NWS 660.
And Spike
siding his way through. Scythe Edwards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually very clinical, isn't it? He's been very gentlemanly.
Mark Edwards next up, and the... well, Mark Edwards on a Tickgraph, I think. No, it's not Mark Edwards. Edbridge. I'll get it right. It's a Tickgraph BMW.
Yep. The modified Rotax engine that goes in the BMW Enduro bikes. A lot of them come over especially for this class this year. Here we go then. The leader comes down Craner Curves.
Through them nice and neatly there, Jules. So Mike Edwards not wasting too much energy on those guys at all. Slides through them, sides through the 5-man chicane that he just wiggled his way through. Next up will be John Crawford. He has the same task ahead of him. Richard Cutts goes through. This is after 14 laps. Edwards, Crawford, Kaskar in 3rd, Ruth still in 4th. Takeshi, Sluyers, Bindram and Day, they are the lower leaderboard positions. But really this race, barring any kind of problem at all, is Edwards'. And back with 3rd place at Cathcart now. Yeah, great big handful of throttle. I love that.
Not delicate, is it?
Eat your heart out, Mick Doohan. It was brilliant. It's just great big handfuls. If you did that on a 500 Grand Prix bike, you'd be over the back and good night Vienna.
Yes. There's, as I say, he's on the Supermono single-cylinder Ducati. The bike was purpose-built for this class. Ducati have sold nearly 100 of them worldwide for racing. The reason that I keep trying to get around to say it's got V2 written on the fairing is the Australian firm that prepared this bike normally work on big V-twin Ducatis, not the singles.
Another piece of valuable information.
Well, it's nice to see an Australian team bring a bike over for this, I'd say.
Well, they're actually into all these kind of strange formula. I'd say strange with the most respect.
Indeed.
Of course, Bears Racing and the like are into that as well. Remember the Britain?
Well, that's exactly what V2 engineer motorcycles for in Australia and New Zealand for Bears Racing. British, European, American Race Series. Those initials stand for i.e. no Japanese, thank you.
2 laps to go, so the 25 minutes is up. We are into the final 2 laps of this European Supermono Cup race. And now we have to look and see what Mike Edwards' distance is back. He's still putting in quite fast times, but I can tell you that Crawford's last time round was a 43.62. So Crawford, not only the fastest lap to him, he is also circulating faster than anybody else out on the track. But it's all too late. 4.42 seconds was the distance between Edwards and Crawford at the end of the last lap. And really, a man of Mike Edwards' experience is not going to make a 4.42 second mistake anywhere.
No, he got through that pack of back markers down Craners absolutely beautifully. Really made Crawford's job even harder. And Spike Edwards, he's one of those British journeyman racers who I've always thought underestimates himself. He's a champion on 600s. He rides anything. He goes to Macau, Keith, first ride on a 500 on Serge Rosset's Rock Grand Prix bike, breaks that record, goes back, wins the race, goes to the Bol d'Or, first 24-hour race, first endurance race, comes second. Is there anything this bloke can't ride?
No, it's amazing why, apart from the V&M boys, why he's not given a bigger opportunity to ride something a little bit more upmarket. I mean that again with...
so a higher profile class.
Absolutely. He's one of those riders that you can rely on him to perform.
Absolutely.
And not getting the sort of, like you say, quite rightly, higher profile team effort as he gets around the outside of a juddering Ian Dunn. Ian Dunn then with a shuddering front brake on and successfully managing to balk the race leader.
Wolf, their Spike.
Edwards goes by, brakes about 20 yards later into Goddard's, and 1 lap then to go for Mike Edwards to take the race win of the European Supermono Cup. 1 lap there, takes a long lingering look at the pit board. One thing that I can say is don't expect a wheelie at the end of this.
It is such a nice looking little motorcycle, this SFE. You saw the prototype a couple of years ago at the NEC show when it stole the show. You've seen it on the telly with Seymour Powell, the very high profile London design house that did the chassis. And they've really got this thing looking very neat with the Yamaha tailbike engine in it.
And it looks like it works really well as well.
Spike says so.
He's had a very easy race here. It's not looked as if it's out of order anywhere. Some of the other bikes have looked like they've got, you know, a lot of patter on the front end into some of the Ripley corners or on the brakes. Yep. You know, when they've been putting the power down, we've seen Cathcart with the back end of the bike bobbing and weaving. But Mike Edwards, fastest man out there effectively, and it's on rails. He's just riding around, spending more time looking behind him than he's forwards.
Yeah, he disposed of the challenge of John Crawford very effectively. Nice to see Crawford did actually give him a punt, give him something to think about. There's second place man we're talking about, number 48.
Here he is. So John Crawford then, he was the man who qualified in third, I should say, place on the grid. Has been credited with the fastest lap of the race, but he's now 5.28 seconds behind, which is an eternity really. We are on the last lap. Mike Edwards is here. So Edwards, another look.
No one there, Spike.
He's not going to get caught napping though, is he?
Not, is he?
He's probably not got a backboard hanging out or something.
Yeah, Keith, a win's a win. And he's done it very efficiently on a bike he sat on for the first time on Friday and said, as you diagnosed there, it works perfectly. He's kicked the tyres, altered the levers and felt really, really good on it.
Well, it's going to be a quick £400 in his back pocket for a win here in the European Supermono Cup. And through comes Mike Edwards then to take the win, and it has been a superb race. The first time he's been on the rumble strip.
Last corner is the first time Spike gets out of shape at all. Yeah, I think he's out later today in the Supersport 600s as well. There goes second place man Crawford over the line, over 7 seconds.
Now what about that man Alan Cathcart? He's going to make third. He's a long way in front, I think, of the fourth place man. So Cathcart,
yes, and he's happy as well.
Gets third place. It's a good ride from Alan Cathcart.
Yep, Ruth is fourth. We're waiting for the Japanese Takeshi to come over the line in fifth. Is he going to be fifth? Big gap behind Steve Ruth, back to Takeshi. Yeah, he is. The Japanese comes fifth. Then it's Slutjes in sixth, and has Ellie Bindrum got seventh again? Yes, she has. 2 sevenths for the other MZ rider, Ellie Bindrum.
Mike Edwards, though, European Supermono Cup racing here at Donington Park. An easy win, it has to be said, at the end of the day. 7.19 seconds in front of Crawford in second place. Alan Cathcart gets a well-deserved third. He didn't have it easy through that either. Steve Ruth forced back into fourth place. Minoru Takeshi gets fifth. Slutjes gets sixth place. That's confirmed, but a long way back. Bindrum then seventh, Rhoda eighth, Marlowe ninth. James, Walker and Bushell bring up the lower points places.
No, it's okay. From
And if anybody wants to put 91 on Chris Carter winning the World Superbike Championship, now's the time. And the winners are joining me now on the podium. Mark Edwards, John Crawford, and Alan Cathcart. So if you take your places, please, gentlemen, on the right numbers, thank you very much indeed. There we are, and I would ask you, please, Mr. Steiner, to present the, could have a lady helping us here. Okay, so if you'd like to present the third place. Now please, if you would like to go through again with the trophies this time, the biggest trophy to Mark Edwards, and a lovely trophy it is too. So a round of applause for Mark Edwards, a tremendous race there. And a slightly smaller one for John. And I'm sorry, Alan, you've got the smallest one this time, if you'll excuse the expression. And now, before we go any further, please, may we have respect now for the British... champagne to the three gentlemen. In order again, the biggest one to the gentleman, Mr. Edwards, who has done this before. Yeah, it's not fair at all. The only thing is you haven't even got the smallest one. You've got a similar size one, Alan, though. And the champagne also now to John and to Alan. No, it's Moët & Chandon. It's the best stuff. There's a lot of, I think it's almost time to take a slight sideward turn. Here you go, everybody down in